Hi, this is Tony Kent, and this is Tony Kent Writes and Cross-Examines. And today I will be not very strenuously or at all cross-examining a wonderful writer called Sarah Hilary. Sarah is the author of the Inspector Marnie Rome series of books, which, as you can see at the bottom of the page on the scrolling bit of information, launched spectacularly with a CWA Gold Dagger winning debut. It wasn't even the debut dagger, it was the actual gold dagger. And also Richard and Judy. Wasn't?
It wasn't. I won the Theakstons Crime Novel of the Year.
I
did not win a CWA Gold Dagger.
No, pardon me.
You make me think of Belinda Bauer.
No, I'm not. I know who I'm thinking of. It's actually. Don't worry, I've got my notes mixed up. We've changed over the order of our interviews. Sorry about that. Yes, the Theakstons. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's even better. You won the Theakstons.
Up, shouldn't I? Actually, that
the Theakstons. Oh no, because then I wouldn't have said the Theakstons, which is better. So Theakstons is the Harrogate Crime Novel of the Year award. So great start to the interview. It will get better, I promise. Because I'm now going to shut up and I'm going to let Sarah do some of the speaking. So, Sarah, Theakstons in your first book. Is that a record? Has anyone else managed to do that?
No, I believe that I'm trying to remember who it was. There might have been Steph Penny, I think, who was the first ever debut novelist to win the Theakstons some years before I did. And then, so it's the first one in a while to have won it.
Right.
And it, from my point of view, is extraordinary. I mean, honestly, I was so bowled over. I was just so delighted to be on the long list.
Yes.
And then the short list, which seemed slightly miraculous. And then I was so relieved after I'd done my stint of going and talking on the stage and sat back down. I thought, thank goodness I could just relax and enjoy and applaud. You know, I was sure Peter May was going to win that year. Yeah. So I was so relaxed, and it was extraordinary, you know, and the warmth from, you know, your fellow shortlistees and the audience. It was really unbeatable experience. Hard to sort of continue at that level. Actually, you felt like you peaked slightly, and in the very first year, as it were. But it was amazing.
Well, it's quite incredible, isn't it? I mean, it's just we all dream about even being longlisted for that, but to be longlisted, then shortlisted, then win in your first year, and Someone Else's Skin was the book, which is the book that very, very firmly put you and Marnie Rome on the map. Because not only did you win Theakstons, you were also a Richard and Judy book club pick with your first book. I mean, I had a book in the Richard and Judy book club last year, Marked for Death, and so I know quite what that phone call feels like. You're kidding. So, I mean, it's hard to beat, isn't it? I mean, as a start, you can't really think of a better way to start. I guess if you'd won the CWA Golden Dagger, as some people say you did, that would have completed it.
You were having a future premonition. I don't know.
Well, I hope so. But you've also been nominated again, haven't you, for the Theakstons? It's not just the once. You were longlisted or shortlisted again?
I was longlisted for the third book, Tastes Like Fear.
Right.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, when did you start writing the Marnie Rome books?
Back in probably about 2013. It won the Theakstons in 2015, but it's always a year after it first came out because of the it's always paperback, so the paperbacks are the ones that are put forward. So I suppose I was writing it. It was with my agent in 2013, and then going forward to going out to potential publishers in that year, and then picked up and published in hardback originally in 2014. So very exciting.
And since then you've been managing one a year.
Yes, I've been on that hamster wheel, but I've resting the Marnie Rome series now. So Never Be Broken is the sixth one in the series, and the last one for now, at least. I've not said never again, and I've not done a sort of Blake 7 mass massacre at the end that will a little in joke there for the Blake 7 fans, that will necessitate me having to do some sort of supernatural version for book 7. So prequel. Yes, but so I'm leaving the Marnie and Noah in particular to rest for a while. I think fans of the series will understand that Noah needs that rest. And my next book will be a standalone. So I'm, the first time I've written a standalone, quite daunting, a very different prospect. And it's been, and I'm now writing another standalone. So
right. So the first standalone has been written.
Yes, it's about to go to sort of a proof stage. It'll be later in the summer. It'll be on NetGalley, I hope. Obviously, things are a little bit different and changed at the moment, to put it mildly. But it's hopefully out in April next year. It's from Pan Macmillan, so a new publisher, and it's a very different kind of book. So there's no police in it. There's no detectives in it. It's called Fragile. And it's, I was trying to sum it up. I was trying to do an elevator pitch, which is something I've never achieved because I'm
rubbish at that. My elevator pitches are 2 minutes long.
I know. But I did manage to actually sum this one up quite neatly in a way that makes the right kind of audience go, ooh, which is it's Rebecca meets the Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. So it's very different then. It's very different.
Very different. So it's sort of dark, psychological, very small stage, very claustrophobic, but goes very deep. It's psychology is always what interested me in the Marnie Rome series, much more than the procedural side of things. It was much more to do with, the motivations and the repercussions of the crimes that the police were investigating. So in that sense, it feels like a natural progression on from that series. And it's also the first time I've written a book in the first person. So that was the other thing that was very different about writing this book.
I can imagine. I've never tried that, and I'm not sure I'd ever have the guts to do so.
Well, I did. I thought most of my favourite books are written in the first person, or a large number of them are the ones that I reread again and again. So I thought I'd give it a go. But it's interesting that I've gone back to third person for the book I'm writing at the moment, the one I've rediscovered my writing mojo with. It'd
be nice for that to happen to the rest of us.
I tried to send a little bit of it your way, guys, because it took me ages. I didn't just go, oh great, we're on lockdown. I'll write a few books. I wasn't one of those annoying smug people that could do that. And so I struggled a lot at the beginning, but the relief when you're back to cracking through it. I mean, I'm incredibly lucky at the amount of words I'm managing to get done a day at the moment. So I'm hoping it'll last for a while.
Well, best of luck with that. I mean, my wife stresses out more than I do about my lack of productivity. I think because I know that when I'm wondering about looking like I'm doing nothing and being just sort of lazy and feckless, I am thinking. And I am thinking it through, and it's very important to have that thinking time.
It's incredibly important.
But unfortunately, she's not in my head, and so all she thinks is that I've become completely bone idle.
Yes, no. So hence these interviews.
Yes, exactly.
Were you our alibi?
Precisely. I mean, and as a criminal barrister and a criminal writer, alibis are everything.
It's an honour to be your alibi.
I will be relying on you. I will be calling you if I need a witness.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you whether or not there was any chance that the standalone would become a new series, but having now that I know you've finished it, it's absolutely a standalone. Yeah,
this one is definitely, it was always going to be a standalone. It's complete within itself. So the character arcs are very definitely sort of finished at the end of it. Whereas I feel there's still quite a lot of story I could tell with Marnie and Noah.
Yeah.
But I think certainly, having spoken to friends who've written series and then taken a break to write a standalone and then eventually gone back to a series potentially at some point, there's a feeling of refreshment that you get from it, sort of that you feel, you go back into it reinvigorated. So if I did go back to Marnie, I feel that this break would have been a good route back, as it were. But no, I'm very committed to the next thing I'm writing being a standalone. I have got an idea for a future series, but it's not a police procedural. It's more like a sort of a Ripley sort of Highsmith kind of series along those kinds of lines. So it's not something I would say never to, but at the moment I feel like this new standalone I'm writing now, I feel like I know how to do a standalone now. The last one was very much learning as you go. It's very, very different discipline. I was surprised. I thought, I can see obviously I have to invent some new characters, but it was a very different feeling. It feels, when you've got to bring those stories to a complete, satisfactory, end within those number of pages, and that you haven't got any. It's like bit like the difference between writing a short story and writing a novel. And
yeah,
I can't remember who said it, but someone said that they write novels because they don't have time to write short stories. And I thought,
I'm in the process of trying to write 2 of them.
very difficult. Yeah, very difficult.
Yeah.
I've not
really
written one for a while. I wrote one for Exit Wounds, the anthology, which I was quite, reasonably pleased with. And the next one I'm going to write is probably going to be a Japanese ghost story, so it's not going to be necessarily crime. Maybe there'll be some crime in it, but it's a ghost story.
I wanted to speak to you about Japan, but I'm not sure we're going to have enough time because these things go so quickly. And I love Japan. I went there for my honeymoon. I know that you're a huge, is it Japanophile? Would be the right word?
Yes.
But I'm just not going to have enough time to do it because we've only got 15 minutes. And I want to talk to you about St Hilda's.
Yes.
Because you're one of the organisers now, aren't you, of the St Hilda's Crime Weekend?
That's absolutely right. The St Hilda's Crime Fiction Weekend, which is unlike any other crime event I've ever been to, actually. I went for the first time last year, just as a punter. Well, I say it's a punter, as a speaker. So I was presenting a paper on Patricia Highsmith. And, when I first got the call, I was utterly delighted. And then I was utterly terrified. The idea of standing up at a podium and talking for sort of 40 minutes in front of a group of not only very keen crime fiction readers and fans, but some of my greatest heroes of crime fiction. Luckily, also some of my greatest friends. So,
yes.
But it was incredibly. The whole thing is very collegiate. It's an incredibly friendly atmosphere. It just happens to you're sitting in. You're going to hear some of the most erudite, smart, funny, knowledgeable people talk at great length about the subjects they feel passionate about. And I tell you what. Talking for 45 minutes about why I like Patricia Highsmith was actually ultimately much easier than talking about my own books. I don't know whether you find that the same. So much news about your heroes and your other books you've enjoyed than talk about your own books.
I think you're. I kind of talk for a living, so it's difficult to shut me up once I get going on any subject. So I'd like to say that I had that level of modesty, but unfortunately, I'm kind of like a bit of a Duracell bunny who's wind me up and
do you much
go.
good if this might be listened to by somebody that needs you to be talking for a living, and if they find out that you sometimes don't want to talk, we mustn't again
exactly
your alibi
precisely. Well, I have to say, I never don't want to talk from the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I go. Even I've got a 2-year-old son, and it's normally the 2-year-old that will. When you have a parent and a child, the 2-year-old normally drives the parent mad with the constant speaking.
Of course.
It's definitely the other way around. He has periods where it's all right. Okay, go in the living room, Daddy. Go in the living room. So not a huge problem. So St Hilda's, it's obviously almost every crime festival has been cancelled this year for reasons we all know.
Out for me, Tony.
Can you not hear me?
Still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Oh, well, I'll keep talking then and hope that
Please.
you can sort it. I can't hear what you're saying, but I'm going to assume you were asking me some more questions about St Hilda's. I don't lip read, sadly.
Yes.
So it's this year. We're not going to attempt to do the full festival online because obviously asking speakers to present 45-minute papers direct to camera would be quite difficult, I think. But what we are going to do is try and capture the essence of it. So we're going to have some chairs. We're going to have Jake Kerridge and Alison Joseph, and maybe 1 or 2 guest chairs. We don't know. We're still thinking about it. And then we're going to have the amazing, nearly all of the amazing crime writers that we're going to be appearing at the podium at St Hilda's College will be online, hosted via YouTube. You'll be able to see Abir Mukherjee and Vaseem Khan and Laura Shepherd-Robinson and Anna Mazzola and a whole host of other amazing people talking about historical crime fiction. So the theme is all our yesterdays. And they're going to be talking about, the specific types of historical crime fiction that have inspired their own books and their own writing. And I think Andrew Taylor is going to attempt to do the murder mystery dinner online. I don't know how it's going to work.
You said I'm going to try and sign up for that.
I think, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how they manage to do that. It's going to be really interesting to see. Isn't it interesting in this particular moment in history to watch all the different responses to it and to see all, writers having to come out of their little, mostly introverted shells and do these sorts of things.
Stuff like this.
Yeah, exactly. And I still can't hear you, but it still feels good. It's still fine. This is what your son needs, Tony. Saying good thing. Saying goodbye. Time's up. Excellent. I sort of said saying good things.
No, saying goodbye. I'm going to have to say goodbye so we can get onto Instagram.
I'm sorry. It was great fun. Thank you very much.
Lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much. And sorry about the ending.
Everyone else who comes on. See you all.
Thank you.